Leading up to the Seneca Falls Convention were a tremendous struggle for women throughout the world as they fought for their rights to be treated as equals.
Along with this struggle, women faced unfair treatment such as strict divorce and marriage laws, prohibition to practicing medicine, ministry, and law, plus the inability to vote.
The voices rebelling against slavery and unequal treatment were rarely heard and never acknowledged.
Few women had the courage to stand up and speak their minds, but the ones who did wouldn't back down until their opinions were heard.
Elizabeth grew up trying to live up to her father's wish of having a son by excelling everything boys could do. She grew up to be an American reformer and leader of the women's suffrage movement, and pushed for suffrage clause to be included in Bill of Rights for Women. She was the president of National Women's Suffrage Association from 1869 to 1890 and of National American Women's Suffrage Association from 1890 to 1892.
As a daughter of Quaker abolitionists, Susan B. Anthony grew up as an American reformer. She was the leader of the women's suffrage movement. She supported the emancipation policy, organized the first Women's Temperance Association, and fought for equal pay for women's teachers, co-education, and college training for girls.
Lucy Stone was a reformer and leader in the women's rights movement. She graduated from Oberlin College in 1848. She was a regular lecturer for the Anti-Slavery Society, and she founded the Women's Journal, the official publication of American women's suffrage.
Lucretia and her husband were both Quakers who were involved in the American Anti-Slavery Society. While teaching, she got interested in women's rights when she found out that men got paid twice as much as women. She and her husband sheltered runaway slaves, and they refused to use cane sugar, cotton, or anything that came from slave labor. In 1840, she attended the First World Anti-Slavery Convention in London, where she met Stanton and decided to hold a convention for women's rights. In 1866, she, Stanton, and Stone founded the American Equal Rights Association.
The Seneca Falls Convention took place from July 19th and 20th, 1848, in Seneca Falls, New York. It was the birthplace of the women's rights movement, and it started with the Waterloo Tea Party of July 9, 1848. Stanton made up a declaration for the convention called the Declaration of Rights and Sentiments, a popular manifesto of the women's rights movement. The main purpose of the convention was women's suffrage, social, civil, and religious conditions and rights of women. No men came to the first day of the convention.
To start off the Seneca Falls Convention, Elizabeth said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal," from the Declaration of Rights and Sentiments. The declaration began with, "All men and women are created equal." The declaration listed the injustices women endure. The declaration was signed by 100 of approximately 300 people that attended the convention. For the years to come, it would serve as the basic text for the women's rights movement. No convention on this scale had ever been held to discuss the injustices and oppression the American women endured. Women felt that it was a duty, not a right, to vote. Women should support the Republican, which would support female enfranchisement. Some people looked upon them with respect, others with disapproval and contempt. When Lucy Stone said that women should be men's equals, the crowd erupted with boos and laughter. Two men in the audience cited scripture, defending women's proper place in the home. They also presented reasons to prove that women should never vote. Elizabeth was determined to discuss marriage and divorce, subjects that had consumed her thinking for over a decade. Wives had no choice but to accept laws that codified their inferiority. The most divisive national convention and the last one held before the war met on May 10th and 11th of the year of 1860. This time, it was disagreements among female leaders that threatened to undermine the proceedings.
Charles Hovey from Boston established a $50,000 trust fund supporting the anti-slavery cause, free religion, and female suffrage in 1858. Contributions such as this gave women the financial base needed for meetings, paying lecturers, and publishing rights. Though it took much trouble, these brave and determined oralists' voices finally got recognized when the 19th Amendment was added to the Bill of Rights in 1919. Although they could not see their ideas being put into action, without their contributions, the goal of equality wouldn't have been reached.